sit down with us for an interview. But always willing to be a little bit silly, Trey demonstrated his abilities of physical comedy, and then, just for good measure, he showed us how he walks down most hallways. Coming up, my interview with Trey Long. Together with M3-TV, the American Basketball League is proud to present ABL Free Throw. I have a special guest tonight. It's Trey Long. Trey is a 7'2" former college basketball star. He's played overseas, and he's also now Vice President of Team Development and Recruiting for the ABL, that is the American Basketball League. So Trey, welcome aboard, man.
Thank you for having me, my man, for sure.
Good to finally meet you in person.
Yes, sir. Been way too long.
Yeah, so full disclosure, Trey and I actually met for the first time in person last night. We've known each other for a couple of years. As I said, Trey played professionally in New Zealand, and we were introduced to each other by a young lady named Leanna Barrett. So, Leanne, if you get to see this, we love you, sweetie, and thank you for hooking us up. Okay, so your role with the ABL is to go ahead and recruit teams and recruit players, and you've been focusing specifically, or especially I should say, in this area, this being Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
So what have you been up to?
I've basically just been trying to find the right gym to get people to, to feel comfortable coming to certain areas in Charlotte, because obviously, Charlotte's got its times where it's a little harsh, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to make it comfortable for everybody to come. Really just trying to find, good, solid players to come play in this league. It's not going to be a head case or nothing like that. But obviously I want to give that professional experience to those who may not never actually got to experience that type of level of play or whatever on and off the court. So I'm really just trying to help, get kids up, get young adults off the street, man, and try to put something positive in their life, man, so they can help their families the way they want to help them, other than doing what they're doing.
Okay, so for those who are not familiar, the ABL is more or less the path less traveled. Everyone wants to move up, all right? There are a lot of real good ball players out there. They have a lot of ability. They have a lot of desire. They have everything they need, except they may get caught up in the politics game, or maybe it's not even politics. They might be the 16th best player on a 15-man roster, so they're out. Okay, so we're the path less traveled, but we can get them someplace. We can get them to the next level. Okay, we are currently working on something called ABL Trinidad, which would actually be our professional league. All right, the ABL here in the U.S. won't be the pro league, and there are a number of reasons for that, which I'll get into during another program. But in any event, this is where we are now. So the players that we're looking for are 18 and up, not committed to a high school or basketball team, okay? And we're not paying here in the U.S. because we are basically a developmental league or a showcase league, okay? So that's our specific goal, to get players ready for the next level, all right? So Trey, let's talk about the next level, because you, again, played on a higher level, all right? You mentioned professionalism. Talk to the players right now. Look into camera 2, and you tell the players 1 or 2 things that they need to know. Two things they need to avoid.
2 things they need to avoid: distractions. That could come family, girlfriends, people you see on the street, people you walk by, anybody come into contact with could become a distraction. My thing is, and the second thing before I get into that, the second thing I would probably say avoid is, I wouldn't say avoid it, I'll say time management. Well, you gotta learn how to manage your time. We all have 24 hours in a day, so there's no reason why you can't get anything that you want done within those 24 hours. So you can go to the gym, go to school, go to college, you know, be a family man, you know, take care of your kids. Like there's a lot of stuff that as you get an adult, you gotta incorporate into that 24 hours. So, you know, it could become a distraction. It could become just a routine. Like me personally, I'm a routine type of dude. Like I like getting up in the morning, going to the gym, eating. If I gotta go to work or gotta go make some money, I'll go do that. Every time I'll come, after I get that time out from my job, I'll go right back to the gym. Whether it's running, shooting around, playing, whatever the case may be, I'm always making sure I find time to get to the gym. And now that we're doing the ABL, I gotta make time to organize the teams around the United States and also make sure, you know, I'm keeping in contact with you just so we all on the same page.
Well, you bring up something else, you know. You're talking about organizing your time. How did you learn how to do that? Because some people think they really know how, and then, well, let's talk about those who really don't know how. They have no idea because they were never taught.
For me, I'll say college. Well, I went to prep school off and on, so prep kind of got my attention, but college really got my body used to it as far as 5 a.m. workouts, 6 a.m. workouts. Thankfully, my freshman year I was at the beach, so I didn't really mind waking up to go run on the beach. I actually loved that. It was really, but that's why it's important to find which college that you want to go to, or if you're not really the college type of person, is finding somewhere that you're going to get better and that's actually going to incorporate all the things that pros do into whatever that organization that you would have got going on. If you just go into some place just to play basketball, you can do that anywhere. You go to a church league, go to YMCA, you can go all these different places if you just want to play
basketball.
Any of the
rec leagues.
Any rec league. But if you actually want to be a pro, there's things that you have to do off the court to be a pro. Being a pro don't mean scoring 30 every game, or getting 20 rebounds every game, or just dominating your competition every game. There's more to that than being a pro. And if you want to be honest with you, there's probably, I ain't gonna say any names, but there's probably 5 or 6 players that I can think of right now who should not be in the league right now. The reason they're in the league is because they take care of what they gotta take care of, and people trust them with certain things.
You're talking about, when you say the league, you're talking about NBA?
NBA league, okay. Yeah. So I know a lot of players that could, I ain't gonna say dominate LeBron, but give a run up for his money, that playing street ball right now, or playing somewhere overseas that nobody's even heard of. I've done seen these people with my own 2 eyes. So there's a lot of players. There's probably millions of players trying to take your spot every day. That's what.
So you gotta stick to the grind. You gotta hone your craft. You gotta always be trying to get better, because somebody's always out there trying to take your spot. That's a good point. One of the things that, again, full disclosure, I'm the founder and president of the ABL, but one of the things I'm pleased with is the fact that we're going to have an ABL game of the week on an outfit called M3-TV. And full disclosure, I founded M3-TV as well. But we're going to have games being aired/streamed all over the world. Okay? So there are going to be coaches who can watch players from their living room overseas, scouts, any number of people, fans. So we're going to be able to be seen overseas. This isn't, and you know, with all due respect to ESPN, all right, we're not trying to compete with them. We have our own thing. But just like right now, you all can't probably tell, but the way we have these two cameras set up, man, if you knew, you'd be amazed. You'd be laughing at us. But you know, the thing is, you gotta start from somewhere. One day the camera equipment is going to be better. One day the players, the level of players, will get from where it's going to be in year 1 to where it ends up in year 3, year 4. You know, but it's about improvement. It's about progression, and that's what, you know, as the founder and president of the league, that's what I want to see from the players. To an extent, that's what I want to see from the coaches. I want everybody to grow, all right? But especially the players, because the players are the ones who we're supposed to be working for, you know? So with that in mind, and we're going to close in a couple minutes, but...
Just to pick up back on what Mac just said, I want to see the players that ride the bench in high school, who swear up and down that, you know, I should be in the game, I should be in the game. Or people D3, D2, D1 not playing. I want to play. Well, that's a little different, but once y'all get past college, I'm speaking for high school mostly. I'm not talking about college. I don't really want to see people in high school that swear up and down they should be playing, or the coach is playing favorites. Like, all right, we're giving y'all, we are literally handing y'all a platform to where y'all can do exactly what you say you can do. The camera gonna be on you. People gonna be watching. There may not be a lot of people in the crowd, but I promise you people gonna be watching. Whether it's just one person watching, that one person can change your whole life, bro. I'm serious. It done happened to me before. There's one person. It don't matter if it's 1,000 people viewing the game or just one person. You never know who that one person is. That one person can have more connects than 1,000 people watching. You never know. That's why it's always good to be a professional on and off the court, because you never know who's watching. That moment you spaz out on the referee or your teammate or a player, like, you never know who's watching. Like, obviously we're human. We're gonna make mistakes, but try to just keep that in mind. I know I make mistakes every day. We all gonna make mistakes, but it's just how we, you know, we fight back to, you know, we fight back to make up for those mistakes is what makes you who you are. I feel like, this in my opinion.
It's, you know, for some, you know, obviously it's a bit more of a struggle, you know, to stay on that straight and narrow path for whatever the reason.
Sure.
And there are a ton of them, and we're not going to get into all the whys and why nots. We're not psychologists, but it's just a fact. And some of you who watch this might fit into that category, but, you know, just understand that, you know, college basketball, college is a wonderful institution. I attended college only for 1 year, but I attended college. And I promise you, college is a wonderful institution, all right? But, you know, like I said, there's a lot of you guys out there who can really play, and you're being left by the wayside, and that shouldn't be, okay? And granted, some of you might be able to go into another league and maybe get paid a little bit, but that's another thing. You and I both know, Trey, there are leagues out there who claim to be something they have no business trying to be. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, again, full disclosure, I learned my lesson. Yo, there's always been a difference of definitions between semi-pro and, surprise, semi-pro, you know. So there are leagues that will call themselves semi-pro and they'll pay this one and that one, but other players on the team don't get paid. And then there are other leagues that call themselves semi-pro and they don't get paid anything. But the fact of the matter is, if you notice, I never suggested for a minute that the ABL was pro or semi-pro. And that's on purpose, all right? Because whatever the definition of semi-pro is, all right, anytime you put the word professional into a description, people are going to expect to get paid. So that's why the ABL will stay away from that. So with that being said, no, this isn't going to be a league that pays, except now when it gets to playoff time, there's always going to be some sort of an arrangement to pay the winning team. So if you want to say we're professional in that sense, okay, I'll take it. All right. But what I want to really do now, I'm going to give it back over to Trey, because I want you to talk just for, 30 seconds. I know we talked a little bit about behavior and being a professional, but, since we're basically talking to the players right now, all right, that's the direction, this show is taking. So talk to them about how you learn to prepare for a game.
Well, first thing you don't want to do is fill your stomach with a whole bunch of nonsense. Like, for me, really the biggest thing for me is trying to find that balance to eating right, because, I'm a little bit big in everybody, so I can consume a lot of food, but I noticed, like, some of the foods I was eating wasn't really helping me with these 12-minute quarters. Like, I'll be fine first quarter, second quarter, but when halftime came around, I was dead. Like, so really, for me, it was just finding like a nutritionist or something, or just somebody that knew what they were doing with the nutrition side of things when it comes to basketball players, because obviously different sports require different calories, blah 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 blah. So it's really just trying to find a nutritionist that understands what you're trying to do, your goals for your body, your goals for your future goals, or whatever the case may be, and actually help you achieve those things. Now, as far as like behavior and stuff like that, like, I was gonna give an example, but I'm just gonna say it like this. Like, so when I say be a opponent on and off the court, like, I mean literally when somebody is not looking, when the camera's not on us, like, what are you doing? You making the right decisions, or you think somebody ain't gonna notice? Because at the end of the day, somebody's always watching, whether you know it or not. There's cameras everywhere. There's probably like 3 cameras in here, not including the ones we got on right now. There's cameras outside. There's literally cameras in the sky. You just don't see them. I'm not trying to scare nobody, but my point is, you get watched every day. They're watching you every day, and once you create a what was that word we used earlier with Draymond?
Reputation?
Yeah, once you create a reputation for yourself, it's really, really hard, depending on if it's good or bad, to get that reputation off you. So my thing is try to do the right thing, be around the right people. If you don't know how to be around the right people,
God help you. Because we should all know right from wrong. I mean, we're not 4-year-olds, So it's a fact. You've got to continue to try and do the right thing.
And this is a thing I had to learn. I'm not to cut you off, man.
No, go right ahead.
All that day, stay down with your day ones, and family over everything. Like, that's not really, like, your family could be a distraction. Not saying mine is or anything like that, or yours is, or whoever's watching this, but it's like, if they holding you back, and only you know if they're holding you back. Like, if people around you don't want to see the best version of yourself, like eating, your mood every day, like, just certain things. Like, it took me like 3 years, 4 years to really like understand what I'm telling y'all right now. And I had to learn pretty much the hard way, just because I was just so stubborn, because I really wanted to have people that was in my circle from the beginning, in my circle when it ended. And that's just not how it worked. God gonna take people in and out your life for a reason. And it's up to you to really understand that. Like, obviously he's not gonna tell you, so you really gotta be paying attention. So it's like, anytime that you feel negative about anything, I would get out that situation. You don't have to like be negative about it. Just kind of be like, yeah, I'm working on better things, working on better stuff for myself. I just don't feel like you're going to help me achieve those things I'm trying to do for myself. And that's all you gotta say. Keep it moving. You know, you got social media. People can follow you on social media if they really wanted to, you know, keep up with you. You know, there's other things that people can do if they really want to, you know, stay in your life. And once they realize what you're trying to do, maybe that will change their minds, change their view of things. So it's really just a learning process. You gotta be patient with it. It ain't gonna happen overnight. That's like a big word for me, is staying patient, being patient. Obviously, I have like anxiety and stuff like that. I go to the gym, or I go to the weight room, or I might call Mac. I might call my people that I know that's good for me and for my sanity I could talk to, who's not gonna really like judge me or anything, but just kind of give me their opinion on certain stuff. Because obviously nobody. I've been 7 feet since I was like 12, basically. So can't really nobody really give me advice on that type of stuff. But they can give me advice on certain situations that they've been in their lifetime. That, you know, we humans, so we're gonna have similar situations. It may not be the exact same thing, but it's gonna be similar. So, you know, it's really just just filling out. You know, once they tell you their opinion, if it makes sense to you, cool. If not, talk to somebody else. Eventually, people are gonna start sounding. Or if you got 3, 4, 5 people telling you the same thing, then obviously it's time to. You get what I'm saying? So.
If you know what I like to say, and not necessarily having to do exactly with that, but I usually say twice a coincidence, 3 times a pattern. So just piggybacking off of what you said, you know, if I hear something, I need advice on things all the time. If I hear something twice, okay. But if I hear it multiple times, I'm going to pay closer attention. So don't be afraid to ask for advice. Don't be afraid to ask a number of people for advice, but make sure it's people you really trust. You know, don't just ask anybody. You know, I'm fortunate in that, you know, I have a few professional friends, and so when I want to talk to them about business, you know, or things, you know, more serious things, I can say, hey, what do you think of this? And, you know, unfortunately, more times than not, the reply I get is, Mac, that is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. But, no, but on the serious side, you know, it's always good to be able to, you know, I mean, you mentioned you have a number of people in your circle. You know, that's good because, you know, I don't care whether you're playing basketball or whether you're, you know, doing other stuff. Everybody needs that. So, we got a minute left. I didn't know that the interview was going to take this turn, because what I really had intended was the trade to talk more about the developmental part of this. I wanted him to speak about his role. We're going to do that another time, I promise. But, you know, you know, we got on this track, and I just felt like we should stick with it. So, all you guys who are looking for a league, all right, consider us. If you just finished college and you haven't been picked up by an overseas club or G League or whatever, and you're just looking for a beginning, consider us. Okay. I don't make any guarantees except that the league will put its best foot forward. The one thing I can tell you, though, is I can almost guarantee that once you're through with us, maybe after a year, maybe after 2 years, we'll get your ABL Trinidad so that you can get paid. That much I can tell you. Now, again, full disclosure, ABL Trinidad isn't quite ready yet, okay? They'll be ready in 2024. We'll be doing some specials about the ABL in Trinidad as well. But in the meantime, consider ABL right here in the U.S. We could be your bridge to getting paid professionally. Okay, Trey, Good meeting you in person, man.
Yes, sir.
I got to get some rest. I have to catch a plane in the morning to head back to Texas. And till next time, thank you for your time. This time is Matt Clare saying so long and bless you. Do something nice to somebody, and we'll see you again real soon. Good evening, everyone. It's Matt. Welcome to Personal Foul. I'm Matt Clare, and we have Derek Gervin, former basketball star with the New Jersey Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. Really made hay overseas, and he's our expert. And Derek, welcome aboard, man. How you doing?
How you doing, Mac? You make me nervous when you call me an expert, but other than that, I'm doing well, and I thank you for that.
No. So before we get started, first of all, I'll tell you we're having our first show tonight. So those of you who are watching and listening, welcome. We thank you for tuning in. But before we get started on talking about the NBA, I do want to touch on something that is equally as important, if not more important. Derek's heart is with the youth of, well, we're in the San Antonio area, so the youth of San Antonio is special. And those of you who are in the know, I don't need to tell you that Derek has some San Antonio ties here. So there are a ton of reasons why he feels as strongly as he does about the kids here. But Derek has a program directed at the youngsters. Basketball is involved, but I'll let him tell you more about it. But it involves giving encouragement, teaching respect, discipline, all those things that parents ought to be teaching their kids. And unfortunately, that's not always the case. So, Derek, I'm going to ask you to talk about your program for a moment.
Well, first, I'm going to say good evening, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. And I'm just glad that you've been a part of the show. I hope you continue to be a part of the show because I only think it's going to start off good today, and it's going to only get better as we move forward. Well, Mac, I've been in San Antonio now since 1982. I moved down here from Detroit, Michigan after my high school days. And I ended up going to the University of Texas, San Antonio. It's kind of funny how that panned out because I was originally going to either Michigan, University of Michigan, or DePaul. But all of a sudden, I was told that my family was moving to Texas, to San Antonio, a city I'd never heard of before. And true story, I'd never heard of it. But my brother was traded from the Virginia Squires of the ABA. For those of you who don't know my brother, they call him the Iceman, George Gervin. So George was traded to San Antonio. So one day my sister calls and talks to my mom in Detroit. And she tells my mom she wants her to uproot to Texas, which, of course, the young son was myself. And so mom kind of wanted me to uproot with her. Now, keep in mind, I was going to DePaul or University of Michigan. But my family kind of thought I was needed to get away from I'll say, the lifestyle that we were living, that I was living in Detroit. And they kind of wanted me to get away. So George kind of talked to me about having a fresh start. So I thought about it, and I ended up saying, okay. So I, took my behind to San Antonio. I get down here, I worked with my family for a few years. My sister is currently the state representative for the east side of San Antonio as we speak. So I got down here. I started going to the what they call the George Gervin Youth Center. We had a youth center that my brother and my sister put together. It's been going on now approximately about 30 years. So then they started a school called the George Gervin Academy. And I started working at the school. I thought that was my calling at the time because it gave me an opportunity to deal with young people. And my life has basically been built around the young people. I get emotional talking about them. So I started Team Gervin, a basketball program. And it was basically about, teaching kids about just doing the right things, making good decisions. None of us are perfect, of course. We all have had our challenges in life. But I just thought it was important to talk to these kids, especially in this era that we're in today, about making good decisions. So I started my team, Gervin. I've always been like, I don't have kids. So these kids, to me, they like a reflection of myself. They like an extension of me. And I wanted them to be able to make good decisions every day, Monday through Sunday, or Sunday through Saturday, I'll say, since Sunday is really the first day of the week. And so I wanted them to just be able to make good decisions. And I started a thing called All A Monday, Mac. And I'm telling this for all of you out there. The kids know that after our practices, when we all get in the huddle, I was always about the school day, the next day. So if it was a Wednesday, I was big on tomorrow being All A Thursday. And the reason I say that is because I believe in the student athlete, but more so than that, I believe in scholar athlete. And so that's what I'm about. I figure if you could be a student athlete, it just takes a little more effort for you to be a scholar athlete. And when you're scholar athletes, you usually always have something to fall back on, a plan A, a plan B, plan C, whatever it may be. And I got all this from my sister. So dealing with kids is my life. I'm just starting back up with my team, Gervin, again, and I'm going to be back coaching and all of that. But as you know, we're starting the high school season now. But I'm ready to get back in the mode. I'll be going to a lot of high school games, cheering on some of the young people that I've coached in the past. And there's no better feeling for me than to see these kids now. Some of them they might be ROTC, they might be swimmers, they might be basketball players, but more so than that, they're good people, good human beings that are trying to do something good out in society. And for me, that's the biggest gift that I can get from these young people, is seeing them going out here and making a life for themselves and trying to do better for themselves and for their family. And that's the biggest part that excites me.
Yes, indeed. Well put. Well put. Okay, so to find out more about your program, do you have a website?
Well, right now I don't, because I'm just starting back up. But if they have any questions for me, Mac, if you don't mind, I can give these. I'll give them my email address, because I don't mind people having it, and I want them to contact me. They can contact me. My email is lowercase DGERVIN, V as in Victor, dgervin21@gmail.com. And if you want to talk to me further, you can reach me on that site, and I will get back with you. And once I start my link back up, I'll let Mac know, and he can give you the information. But until then, if you want to contact me, you can contact me once again at dgervin, DGERVIN21@gmail.com.
And I'll make sure to pass along whatever information you give me. So I'm taking my glasses off for this, so I want y'all to listen to me. All right. When Derek sends me the information to pass on to you, I encourage y'all to pay attention to what this man is doing. All right. Especially those of you in the San Antonio area who have kids, give him a look. Okay. All right. So
I love you, Mac. Wow.
Now that we did that, our primary purpose tonight is to talk about the NBA season. And by the way, I'm assuming if you're listening to this, you're an NBA fan.
At least I hope they are.
And so you might not be the NBA fan that I am or that Derek is, but you're some sort of a fan. So I've already did this off screen with Derek, but I will wish you all Merry Christmas. I mean, I feel like it's Christmas time for those of us who are big basketball fans, you know. I mean, never mind football. This is my time of year right here. It goes from late October right through into the spring. But Derek, you know, you and I have talked off camera about this a number of times, how difficult it is to pick teams that we expect to not only get to the playoffs, but to actually make some noise in the playoffs, because there I go, I almost went to the Western Conference. Believe me, we're going to get to the Western Conference, folks. That is the harder conference of the two. In the East, we already know 1 and 2 is Boston and Milwaukee, or Milwaukee and Boston. I think, the Kanye Shantakes will agree to that. But after that, man, it's a roll of the dice. I know you're high on Miami.
Well, I'm high on Miami because they made a few additions. Last year they were short a big man, and so they brought in a backup for Bam Adebayo. I really wish they had brought in a guy that could start, but they did bring in a serviceable big man, Thomas Bryant, who was with the Lakers last year, and then they ended up sending him to Denver Nuggets. So he sat it there. He didn't play much with the Nuggets, and then now this year he gets traded, and he goes and plays with the Miami Heat. So I think that's a good addition for them. But they also have a young man from UCLA, Jaquez, trying to think of the last name. Vasquez, I believe it is. Jaquez Vasquez, I believe is his name. Rookie. He's really, really good player. He's very intelligent. And I think he's going to play a lot this year. As you know, they lost Gabe Vincent last season. They lost Max Struz. So it's a different team this year. Tyler Hero's back healthy.
Yeah, they're going to be a much different team.
Say that again.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. We're getting a delay here, but I was going to ask you, because they did lose some 3-point shooting in Strus. In fact, a couple of guys they lost who could, offer 3-point shooting. They still have Duncan Robinson. They still have Tyler Hero. So I guess, are they going to rely on those guys more? Or do you think there's going to be other guys who they could rely on for that 3-point prowess?
Well, the reason I don't worry so much about the three, Mac, is if you remember when we watched the championship, the Denver and Miami, it didn't really come down to 3-pointers. It came down to the team that ran the offense the best. And sometimes those shots are not going to be 3-pointers. They're going to be good 2-pointers. The object is to score the most points. And I know we're in the Steph Curry era where all they talk about is a 3-pointer, but you still got to take your layups. You got to maximize your opportunities. And sometimes your opportunities are not making you living and dying at the 3-point line. You take your layups, you take your mid-range, and you take your 3 points. And I think those are the teams to me that win. It's not the ones that go 3-point crazy. There's not too many Steph Currys and Klay Thompsons that have ever been around, especially in this era. You look at it now. Those are the teams. The Golden State Warriors, that's a team that shoots a lot of threes. But they won in 2021. But, of course, last year you look at the Nuggets. The Nuggets didn't win because of the 3-point line. They won because they have the best player in the league, definitely the MVP in my mind, Nikola Jokic. And they just played the game. They let the game come to them. And whatever shots were the best shots, the high percentage shots, those were the shots they took. And to me, that's why they were crowned as NBA champions.
Okay. And the gentleman you was referring to, I think, is I'm looking it up. Jaime Jaquez Jr.
Jaquez Jr. He's a really good player. Really good player.
Yeah. And, that just shows my ignorance because I haven't seen him play yet, but I'm going to take your word for it.
You saw him, Mac. You saw him in the NCAA tournament. I guarantee you saw him in the tournament.
That's right. Yes. Okay. All right.
The kid can play. I mean, he's very mature. He has that mindset of I'm not saying he's a LeBron or those guys, or Chris Paul, those guys, but he sees the game that way.
No, he's a smart, heady ball. Okay, you know what? As soon as you said NCAA, I remember.
He's a very heady player, and I think guys like that, that's why I give Miami a good chance. And, of course, they still got Jimmy Butler come playoff time. We know who Jimmy is. And I just think they're a team that's coached well. They have a good organization. When you're looking at Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, I think they've built this team. They wasn't so much a team that they went out and traded for this player and traded. They did it the old school way, the way we talk about doing it. They nurtured these guys. The Duncan, yes. So that's why I like the Miami Heat, and I give them an opportunity.
They do it the right way. People can say what they want about Pat Riley and what have you, but that Heat organization, root for them or not, you got to admit they do things in such a way, continuity, continuity. So, okay, so we're giving some love to the Heat. Not as a Knicks fan, I hate the Heat, but you gotta give them love because they're one of the best run organizations. So, I mean, I guess we'll say Boston and Milwaukee for later because I think talking about them too much is kind of like stating the obvious. Water is wet. That kind of thing.
Can I say something though about Milwaukee?
Go ahead.
Because I know a lot of people jumped on that bandwagon after they acquired Dame Lillard. But I still have questions about Milwaukee. I'll leave it at that right now. But I'm not all the way in on the Milwaukee Bucks yet.
Well, no, I mean, no, well, I mean, since you opened that door, I mean, we could talk about. Listen, you're the man, so I'm going to follow your lead. Okay, so let's talk about Milwaukee again. We talked about this a little. First of all, folks, by the way, this show is not scripted. Derek and I talk about things on the regular, all right? But the show itself is not scripted. So he doesn't know what I'm going to come here with. I don't know what he's going to come with. I may have some sort of an idea of his opinion of a certain topic. I know how he feels about the Bucks because we talked about it. So hit me with your information about the Bucks and Dame Lillard.
Well, for me, first of all, I don't think they're the same team that won the championship in 2020. As right then, they were on all cylinders. There wasn't a problem with the coach. Mike Budenholzer was the coach. Giannis was coming into his own. They went out. They made a nice trade. They brought in a couple of trades. They brought in Bobby Portis and they brought in Drew Holiday. So as you remember, they end up winning the championship, 2020 champions, Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis ended the finals, I believe, with 50 points in that championship year. I remember Giannis having a really big last game. But if you looked at them since then, Mac and the listeners, Chris Middleton has not really been back up to that all-star caliber since his last injury. And it's taken him some time, but he has not been the Chris Middleton that we were used to seeing a couple of years ago. They kind of changed.
So
PJ Tucker's gone.
Let me just jump in real quick. Now, I just want to jump in one quick. Since you brought up Middleton, again, I haven't seen him yet this season. All right. I've only seen a handful of preseason games, but I mean, he's had all this time to heal and get himself ready. So do you think that he'll come out?
I think he's going to be fine, but the other thing is
Chris Middleton that we've become accustomed to.
I don't know if we're going to see that Chris Middleton because they acquired Dame Lillard. And before they acquired Dame, Chris was the second option. So he was giving the Bucks 20 points a night. And he did it consistently. I mean, that's what he was doing. And he was also the guy a lot of times had the ball in his hands at the end. So now it's a different dynamic because now you have Dame Lillard and you're going to have Dame initiating most of the offense. And so instead of Middleton and Giannis in the pick and roll a lot of times, or the pick and pop, a lot of times it's going to be Dame Lillard. So Middleton might be back to, hopefully he'll be healthy, but as now he's the third option. So we have to see how he adjusts to that. But my thing is Giannis has not been the same, Mac. If you look at it, remember in the championship year, he had a standout game from the free throw line, 17 for 19. I will never forget it. And then this past year, he missed 17 free throws.
Counting down that game too when he got.
Say it again. Say it again.
To the line. Weren't they counting down? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, they were doing the 10 seconds.
Count down when he went to the line because